Hey everybody, this is Coach Andrea and welcome to our edition of Love and Childcare. I have with me my very special guest, Lashon Carter. Hi Lashon.
Hey.
All right, you guys. So today we want to talk to childcare business owners about how to fall in love in your classrooms. And I believe that Lashon's story about how she started in childcare, how she started loving her classrooms and supplying her classrooms with material will inspire you. So before we let Lashon come on, I want to remind you that we have an amazing conference coming up April 1st through the 2nd. We're going to be in Orlando, Florida. And guys, listen, we are here with a live studio audience. We are filming. Somebody say yes! Yes! Oh my goodness! They sound absolutely amazing. We are filming our Love and Childcare edition so that we can inspire you and motivate you to fall in love again with your childcare business. So go to our website, www.jumpstartmychildcaresuccess.com. Get your tickets. Bring your team. We have several instructors that's going to talk to teachers specifically about why we need systems in childcare, how to run their classroom with systems, and guess what? I have a speaker here right now, Lashon. So without further ado, go get your tickets and watch today's show. Okay, Lashon, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so Lashon, let's just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
So I got started back in 2015 in my home daycare. I worked with only my daughter at first, and I ended up adding 2 more extra kids.
So let me ask you something. So when you got ready to go into your home daycare, did you go back and work for Childcare Network, or you worked for Childcare Network and then your home daycare?
I worked for Childcare Network first.
I love it.
And then I ended up starting my own daycare.
So you worked as a teacher?
Yes, I was the teacher and administrator.
Okay, and what age group you work with?
Infants and toddlers.
So it's very rare that we meet childcare business owners who started out as a teacher. Most of us, we always start out with in our homes, but we have a different story today. We have Lashon, who started out as a teacher in Childcare Network.
Yes.
As a teacher and administrator.
I was the assistant director, and then I became the infant room specialist in breastfeeding. So that was my niche. I taught moms how to develop their milk. So
well, just in case somebody's watching and you all hear the word niche, so are you saying the place that you worked at, they would niche their teachers and niche the people in their organization?
I would go to different childcare networks and actually consult with the other infants and toddler specialists in the classroom.
Wow.
And teach them how to properly store the breast milk, how to date the breast milk, how to train their parents on what type of breast milk, and if the breast milk is not working with their child, then what we need to do.
Wow, so ladies, we need to think about that. That's another way to fall in love with our childcare, is to not let what's going on in the pandemic, not let what's going on around us, but to think of creative ways to keep our business moving forward. So awesome. All right, Lashon, so after Childcare Network, what happened?
Well, I ended up wanting to stay away from childcare for a while, but then God brought me right back into childcare in 2015. I wasn't looking to start it in my home, but my daughter had to go somewhere. She had a severe eczema outbreak. Back in 2010, didn't nobody know anything about eczema and how to take care of a baby with eczema. And so my daughter, she's really my why, because couldn't nobody love her like mama can. So I started with her, but then she needed some friends. And I was like, I need somebody to, some friends to come along. But I met a parent that I used to work with at Childcare Network. She always said you need to open up your own daycare, and I used to always joke saying that I was going to open up my own daycare, but I actually did in 2015, March 2015.
Wow.
Woo! So I became an entrepreneur that day.
I love it. Good job.
And my specialty was I wanted to deal with just the older kids at first, because I was like, I didn't want to do with the infants and toddlers anymore. I dealt with them for 7 years with Childcare Network, and I wanted something different. Working with my daughter at home, I noticed that the coloring books and stuff I was buying from the Dollar Tree wasn't giving her more. It wasn't giving her enough of what she needs to know when she gets into elementary school. So I would take what my son was bringing home from homework, and I would look at his kindergarten work, and I would challenge my daughter in what he was doing. So she was getting double lessons, And so when I had the 2 extra kids that joined Tiny Tigers Family Home Daycare, they were doing the same work too.
I love it.
So, and they wasn't no more than 2 and 3.
I love
So,
it. Wow.
yeah.
That's good. Congratulations, LaShawn. That took some inspiration, some forethought, some dreaming big to be able to see like, okay, I'm right here right now, but I want for my children to have more and to do more. So you had told me this story about how your childcare business grew. You had too many kids.
Look, Coach.
Tell the story how you really fall in love. Okay.
So, I went from 2 kids, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to take this the way I need to go. And so I asked my husband first, I was like, do we really want to have these kids in our home? So we had a little townhouse, literally 3-bedroom townhouse, and it wasn't big as nothing. And I had 2 kids. Them 2 kids grew into 7 kids, and this was all in the month of March when I first opened up. So I had told my husband, I was like, we're gonna buy a house. And he was looking at me like, girl, you crazy. You just opened up a daycare center, and then you want to buy a house. I don't know where you getting all these visions from. I said, we buying a house. Mm-hmm. So I did the research on how to buy a house, bought the house. Every house I went to, I was like, that's my vision. I wanted this room for the daycare, and I can see it. But then I was like, nope. So the house we got, the one we received, the lady called me, and she was like, I want to give this house to you. Because every time we went to a house, the house was being bought. Literally, it was being taken from, if you ever been in the home process, you go to the house and they like, oh, somebody already put a bid on it. I'm like, really? So this last house, I was like, I could see myself running it as a full-time daycare. So when you walked into my home, let me back it up. So we got the house, started the daycare March 5th of 2015. We bought the house April 29th of 2015. And then I ended up getting 39 kids in that house.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, it was a powerful move. Yeah. It was powerful because I was tired, but I worked them hours. I would open at 5 a.m. and I wouldn't close until 5 a.m. I had kids that was literally staying overnight care. So I knew I had a bigger vision, a bigger goal. And even with the reason why I got all them kids was because of the curriculum I had created.
How many of you all in the audience today can testify that it does take hustle, it does take grind, it does take going for it? How many of you all really just hustled when you first got started in your childcare business? I know I did. Oh my goodness. You really gotta love childcare to really put that type of hustle into it, because sometimes you wake up in the morning, 3 and 4 in the morning, you out 5, you doing what the average person not willing to do while everybody else is asleep, you grinding just so that you can make sure that there's a smile on a baby's face. Come on.
Including weekend.
Come on, including weekend.
I had them on Halloween. The parents didn't want to take them trick or treat. Don't worry about the Carter family. And we only had a little black Nissan. I remember we packed them kids in the car and we go trick or treating.
Oh wow! Now that's love.
That's
oh
love.
My God, that is love. Now you taking somebody else's kids trick or treating. That's love.
That's love.
Yep, trick or treating, church. I was like, I did it all, and I loved it. And I started coaching. I was watching Coach on YouTube one day. I was like, I got to give me a center because this is ridiculous. My husband said, when are we gonna get a building? Because now it was starting to get scary. Because I was like, I was picking up kids too. I was doing transportation, picking them up from another daycare and bringing them to my daycare.
For after school.
No, they was in a pre-K program, but the parents didn't like the pre-K program, but they didn't want to pay the full-time rate at another program. But I was taking them in to train them how to write their names, how to do this.
Wow.
And they was ready to read, and I got testimonies for other parents ready to read before they got into kindergarten. They was already reading at first grade level. If I can give a shout out to Emma Brumjack, hey girl, hey. But she was one of my first kids that started her brother Brandon. And I remember having her there, and I said, what you want to learn? She was like, I just want some pork chops and mashed potatoes. And she just liked the food.
Feed me.
Feed me. That's how she wanted Miss Carter to cook. And again, I didn't know how to really run my business because I just started just on faith alone, and it was just like, God, just take me. What am I supposed to do? So 2016, I reached out and looked and seen that she did a conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to the conference.
Oh my goodness, build it big.
Build it big.
Oh my God, that was
I went to that conference, and I remember the morning glory. Pastor K and Lady D spoke over my life. It was like, you finna get a building. I was like, when?
Wow.
That's what I really wanted to say.
Well, did I lay hands on you? Or
Yes.
I remember that day. I remember because God spoke to me that was your season. Like the set time to favor you was now. And the Lord was like, lay hands on her. And I laid hands on her. Did you go down?
I did go down.
I laid hands on her. Okay, so what happened from 2015?
So from 2015, 2016, I ended up getting a building.
Don't tell me about the land on the hands. Impartation don't work. We got testimonies right here.
I did get a building. I got a building in 2016. October 2016, I got my first childcare center. And I did have some devastating moments. I'm not going to sit here in front like, oh, I had two daycare almost turn me down because I was beginning my childcare and I didn't know anything. Didn't have a coach, didn't have nobody to tell me, this is what you need to look at when you're looking at a daycare. I just went in like, oh, they got pretty walls, they got this and they got classrooms, and not knowing, hey, you got to have a focus. You got to have what was the overall goal that you needed. So I ended up getting my daycare 2017, February 7th, 2017. So whenever this is, I be open 5 years, that was a challenge. That was a challenge. But when I got in there, the license counselor told me that the building I was in would never be a childcare ever again, and she didn't believe that I can turn this building around. When she seen all the learning posters, the lesson plans I created, because you do have to turn in a lesson plan. I created a lesson plan off of just things that I know that a kid should know before they go on to the next stage. So that's like infants and toddlers. I already knew what an infant should know before they go to the toddler room. You should already know, a toddler should already know what to know to go to the preschool room. Yes. Preschool kids, same way, go to the pre-K. My pre-K program is developed to know second grade level, not kindergarten level, second grade level. So when they get different things, math problems, addition and subtraction, parents like, my kid ain't ready for this. No, your kid is ready for this.
It's about exposure. That's right.
So I turned that program around in 2017. They opened me up, and Miss Evelyn Perez, she's retired now. She said, I want to give you your license in your hand because I didn't think this was possible. And I told her, with God, everything is possible. Since then, we reached our 3-star rating.
Yes!
Being the best curriculum that we do have. So I did my 3-star rating off my curriculum. I teach other educators in my area about the curriculum system that I offer my program.
I love it. And the major thing is when I started working with Lashon, she said, Coach, you'll never believe who just sent me a check. I said, who sent you a check? They sent you a check to teach their teachers.
Yep.
Tell them about that.
So I end up helping with the kindergarten program in Hampton County District to teach the pre-K teachers how to get their kids to not be, so scrimmage and be ready to learn. Well, the problem is with childcare, we think they just need to play all day long. It wasn't enough structure. So not teaching them how to line up or how to do a transition properly. So when I went inside some of the programs, I'm like, okay, they in the kindergarten room, but the teachers are saying, sit down so much, sit down, and they don't have a routine. So when I told her, I said, just develop a routine, have a song, a happy song when they walking into the classroom, have the atmosphere feel like a learning environment.
I love it. And just so that everyone can understand, we have some states that want for the children to be in a play-based learning environment. But what has happened is many of us as childcare business owners, we don't know how to instruct our teachers on how to create a play-based environment, or our environment hasn't been set up for play-based. And there's nothing wrong with having a play-based environment, but it's what you create that stimulates the learning. So one thing that I truly believe is that when you have a play-based program, and that's how your stars is rated by the way that children are able to independently move throughout the classroom, that requires classroom management. That requires knowledge about the materials that you're bringing in, and that requires intentional materials set out. So, Lashon, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about some intentional materials that childcare business owners need to use, especially if they are a play-based program because of their rating or their tier.
First, I would definitely check with what is your regulations for. I know everybody's done different, like your assessment is done. So what are they looking for in the assessment? Like your block area, your library. A lot of things y'all can think of. It's just imaginating being a kid again. When you walk into the classroom, you want to feel that learning environment. So in the block area, I'll take you back. When I seen my daughter walk into my daycare center, and she was like, "Oh my God, they got a castle! Oh my God, I want a castle!" So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna buy you a castle then." But she loved the cooking area because it had so much. It was learning stuff going on. I had the ABCs, the charts, and not just that. It was just like kids' art. It's so important to have stuff that they can, not Dora the Explorer and all that. Yeah, that's fine, but things that they create.
That's right. That child initiated activity. I absolutely love it. So Lashon, we're getting ready to close out, and I want you to inspire and motivate childcare business owners that are watching right now. What can you say to that childcare owner who is frustrated because every time they hire a teacher to go in the classroom, they leave, so the curriculum is never really done? What can you do, or what can you say to them to keep moving forward?
First of all, meet me in Orlando.
Meet us in Orlando.
Get your ticket. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Get your ticket. That part. It's time to really. It's time to shift.
Yeah.
It's really time to shift to what are you doing to help that staff member understand your program a little bit better? What are you doing to break down the curriculum that you have? I'm not a perfect child care provider, and I had to figure out what was the weaknesses in my program. And one was the child care, that curriculum part. So I had to sit down and break down the curriculum myself and see what was my teachers missing. Sitting there and observe yourself, do an assessment on your own program of what is going on inside it. If they don't know the learning domains, that's the first key. Let's see if they know the state learning domains. If they don't understand them, let's sit down and try to understand them together. Then you need to figure out what is the theme. Think of a theme inside your classroom. Everybody's room should have a theme that's going on. Let's all have one theme. If it's March, we should have one theme going around that room. We talking about dinosaurs, infants, toddlers, everybody's talking about dinosaurs. And I say everybody because you need to have one role member in your daycare. I have one team member that does classroom management, and all her focus on is just making sure my bulletin boards is up and everybody understands the lesson plan. And we meet at least once a month or twice sometimes to go over that lesson plan if they need more direction. But I say again, meet us in April.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Lashon. One thing I want to say before we do the big woo-woo is that when you come in April, what we want to do is to give you the wisdom and guidance on how to systemize your curriculum. Many of your states require you to have, let's name some.
Creative
curriculum. High scope. Mother Goose. Teacher learning. Sunshine. So some curriculum.
What is it? Frog Street and something like that.
All of this, right? So some states want for you to have pre-approved curriculum. But we want to help you in the mindset piece of how to go into that curriculum easily, how to set it up effortlessly, and how to implement it as a part of a system in your childcare business. That's why you are frantic and frustrated and overwhelmed, because you have to have a way of helping your teachers comprehend that curriculum. And so we got to know it. And we're going to show you how to use that curriculum as a system in your business. So she's going to be teaching part of that class, and we are wanting for you to hurry now, go get your tickets, and we look forward to seeing you April 1st through the 2nd. Well, all right. Remember this: if you manage the childcare business that you love, you will love the childcare business that you manage. Bye, you guys. Bye.